Welcome back to the Working Fans Podcast, where today the man called Dave. Dave, this is another special interview we get because we are bringing you another member of the New Heights Wrestling roster. Today, you might know him as the Galactic Knight, Shane Gibson, part of Cirice Ex Mortis. Shane, how are you doing today?
Doing good. Happy to be on here.
Awesome, Shane. I guess we'll start at the beginning for people who don't know and haven't seen New Heights Wrestling. What got you into pro wrestling? What's some of your early fandom, and what were some of the maybe wrestlers you were into growing up?
So what really got me into wrestling was the Attitude Era. I remember my first match. I go to my friend's house. It's in Tallahassee in the 90s, so it's wild. I go to his house, and I see these big, buff dudes in the ring, and they're talking trash, and next thing I know, somebody's getting slammed on their head. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. So I go from watching Power Rangers to wrestling to like, there's all this awesome stuff. And it's stuck. It's been with me my entire life since then.
Were you always an athlete?
I took Taekwondo back in elementary school. I used to get into fights a lot back in elementary school growing up. To be honest, I was actually a band geek. Yeah, I was in band in middle school and high school, honor band. And I actually played the heaviest instrument. So I played the tuba, I played the drums, and different instruments like that.
So, side question, what kind of music are you into now?
A little bit of everything, honestly. If I'm being honest, I'm really I like techno music and stuff like that.
Yeah.
My dad introduced us into Kraftwerk and different stuff like that. And so it went from Kraftwerk to like Skrillex to nowadays music, the funk music. I like that. Just everything. I like everything.
You got a nice little mix of music you like, and you were in the Attitude Era now. So at what point do you decide you want to be a pro wrestler, and how did you break in, and how did you get trained?
I started off as a yard tard. If you don't know what that is, a backyard wrestler.
Okay.
And so we would have these giant parties, and we'd do like backyard wrestling and skits and different things like that. You know, it was fun with the friends, but a few of us wanted to take it to the next level. And so we actually started searching for different places to start training. Around the time we were starting to graduate from high school, I started looking up places in Tallahassee to go back to train to, because I was planning on moving back to Tallahassee and other things. And I was going to start at CCW, and I was in talks with Marty Jannetty to start training there. Instead, I got talked into training with Scarface, Waylon Barley, Paul Jourdain, and a couple other people we started training off with. But we started training for, what was this? It's a weird story. But we started training with this guy in Panama City. His name was John Riker. He did a Culture Shock Wrestling and New Heights or not New Heights, but UHPW, United Hardcore Pro Wrestling. We started off in the hardcore scene a little bit. I think that he was, like I said, it's a weird story. Boil it all down with, we started training with Sika in Pensacola, the Wild Samoan. And we started there. We were there for an entire month training. And then we just got training all around and whatnot from different wrestlers and different Gulf Coast legends and whatnot. But the person who taught me how to do everything to begin with, how to lock up, how to use psychology, how to think and stuff like that, was Sika, Wild Samoan.
That's not a bad person to learn from. I mean, one of the guys who was on top in his generation, and even I would say 80s. I mean, I remember him having singles matches even with Hulk Hogan back in the day.
And so there's just tons of people inside that ring, Don Fargo, and it was just so much people that we learned from there. Old Gulf Coast legends that you probably never heard of, like Chris Ty and Scotty Ray's, the Ray's brothers. Gosh, it was just different. Like Hoss Bryant or Colby BTY Godwin. Just so many different people that we learned from.
And they say that's one of the keys, right, to being good at any craft is getting different experiences.
Yeah, sure. Picking up things here and there and everywhere and just making it your own. That's what I like to do.
What would you say so far in your career are some of your biggest accomplishments that you've enjoyed?
Being the champion of companies is always great, but like just being recognized by like your peers, that's always good. See, accomplishments, being told that I am like a good wrestler from Tom Pritchard was like one of the biggest moments of my life. Him asking me why am I not like trying out for WWE back in the day. That was, yeah. I think that's one of the ones that I hold in my head. Yeah.
That's a great answer too, because it'd be real easy for someone to say championships, but you're talking about a wrestling legend, a guy who's intelligent, and
like
back in the day,
the thing that like the wrestlers that I've bumped into or rubbed shoulders with and stuff like that. Like Carlito, he asked me to, or he didn't ask me, but he wished that he was in a match that me and another person, or we were tagging and whatnot, a tag match that we did. He came back to the back. He's like, man, I wish I was in that match with you guys, man. Y'all did awesome. I'm like, damn, dude. That's Carlito.
right?
So like little moments like that's what I mean, it's not like you're not like a big superstar, but it still means a lot when you're one of the smaller guys.
No, that makes a lot of sense. We just talked to a guy who used to referee, James Beard. He refereed out in Texas during the World Class days, and he actually has a small part. He plays a referee in the Iron Claw movie, and just hearing his stories, getting to talk to those people back in the day of whether the Von Erichs and stuff like that, you can see that's what he holds in high esteem too. That he was respected by his peers.
Yeah, just to be held in that high regard is nice. It's really nice.
Absolutely. At that same token, I guess you've been around a lot of some great minds and stuff, but anybody can give good advice. I always like to say, what would you say has been some of your best advice you've gotten in pro wrestling?
Slow down. Like, don't get me wrong. You can throw a lot of high spots in there. Like I used to work a little, like a lot of high spots. I still like high spots when I can do them, but if you give the crowd a chance to react to what you're actually doing, so they can process it, I'd just slow down and actually tell a story. That's what I got told like all throughout my training and my wrestling career. You need to tell a story. Because if you just go in there and you're doing flippity flops, and I mean, yeah, that's cool and stuff, but what does that add to the story of what you're trying to tell in the ring?
That makes a lot of sense. I think I heard Jim Ross say something recently too. He says, like, try to look at it like a comedian. If he's telling you jokes, you need a chance to laugh and process. He's not going to just keep rapid firing you jokes, because then it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah. If you set up the punchline in the beginning, like I love Dave Chappelle personally, but he actually like teaches you quite a bit about comedy in his comedy specials here lately. But when you set up that punchline, you can always come back to that punchline, and it's guaranteed. It's kind of like wrestling. That's like if they know your signature move, they know your signature moves, and they know that it's coming. So let's say you go for it, they reverse. Damn, that's that shock. That's that storytelling. It's just the simple things like that.
Building anticipation too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Building anticipation.
You were talking about comedy too. I want to ask you, who are some of your favorite comedians?
Oh my gosh. Richard Pryor, Dave Chappelle, Eddie Murphy, George Carlin. Let's see. Robin Williams, definitely. Oh my God. Like Robin Williams, I miss that man.
I think you might have listed the top 5 of all time right there. I mean,
yeah. Like a lot of my wrestling, I take like a lot of like slapstick stuff like from back in the day. Like what's the guy's name? Jerry O'Connell. Not Jerry O'Connell. That's one of those. Jerry Lewis. There we go. And so Jerry Lewis, I used to do a lot of Jim Carrey stuff back in the day. Oh man, just my favorite comedians. I try to work that stuff into wrestling to bring a little comedy aspect also.
That's good. You draw inspiration from anything. I always find that interesting too. You can always go draw inspiration for wrestling, but sometimes you can draw inspiration from comedy. That's what's great about wrestling, I think, right? You can draw inspiration from comedy, music. It can be sports like MMA, certain personalities, right? Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
Before a match, and you have to go out there and, you're Shane Gibson, you get ready to go in the ring. Is there anything you do, whether it's to pick up the intensity, or whether maybe it's just to get zen, calm down? Is there anything you have, like a preparation?
Honestly, this is something that a vet has told me. If you don't have the jitters before your match, you probably shouldn't be doing it anymore, because you want to have that nervousness in your match of like, what are you going to do? How you're going to do this? And is the crowd going to react in this match? And if you still got that hunger to like entertain and all that stuff, and you still got those jitters, yeah, that's what the butterflies before the match is what I like to feel. Am I going to do this right? Am I going to do this? Am I good enough to do this? And if you don't feel that, I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
No, that's a great answer, and I think that goes to something that I've even talked to one of my kids recently and says sometimes you got to get comfortable with the uncomfortable a little bit, as hard as that may be. So that's we were talking about music, comedy. What are some things you like to do when you're not wrestling?
Okay, yeah. I game really, really hard. Kind of sweaty in Fortnite and Apex and other games like that. Street Fighters. I like the fighting games. So I take a lot of back in the day I used to like, of course, the wrestling games, but Tekken and Street Fighter and stuff like that. Every once in a while I'll throw a Shoryuken into a match, or of course Bruce Lee kicks and stuff like that. Yeah,
That's awesome.
Video games is definitely one of my like favorite things to do.
We have the privilege of calling your matches at New Heights Wrestling. You've been working with Cirice Ex Mortis. What's this time in your career at New Heights been like right now?
These reactions, I love it.
All right.
I love that I can get the boos and stuff like that after being the good guy for the whole entire time that I've been wrestling, basically.
It seems like that comes. Then I guess, one final question before I ask you about promotion or anything. What maybe are some of your goals for 2024?
Definitely getting better shape. Tired of looking like a blob. Definitely look forward to that. I'm going to really actually try. Maybe take a few more bookings here and there. Mostly just improve on myself more. Self-improvement is 2024's goal.
That's great, Shane. Is there anything you want to promote? Social media?
Nah, I mean, I got an Instagram here and there, but I don't really have time to post. I got a YouTube channel that's got video gameplay, but I don't have time to edit, so nothing really. Just a humble guy, dude.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. All right. Well, Shane,
dude.
Thank you for your time, man. I appreciate that. Seriously, it's nice that you did this, and I know you're busy. We talked a little bit off.